Good morning and welcome to this World Dairy Summit in Paris. I'm very pleased to welcome someone from Canada, Mr. David Wiens. Good morning, Mr. Wiens.
Good morning.
So Mr. Wiens is the president of Dairy Farmers Association in Canada, and he's also a dairy farmer. So you will talk with these two voices or heads. Mr. Wiens, can you explain us in a few words what is your farm? Where is it located? What are you producing apart from milk and dairy products?
Sure, yeah. So I farm together with my brother. We're a third-generation dairy farm located in the province of Manitoba, which is geographically the center of Canada.
Yeah.
And so we're milking about 240 cows, and we're cropping about 750 hectares of land. So that is enough to sustain the what we need for the cows, and then so there's a little bit of surplus, which would then be for cash cropping.
Main part of your productions are going for your cows.
Absolutely, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that many people looking online to this session would be interested to know more about Canada. What are the key trends in dairy farms in Canada in terms of number of farms, in terms of heads, volumes? What is the trend? Is it growing? Is it stable? What can we see as a trend at production level?
Yeah, so we have seen a steady trend of milk production in Canada. As the market grows, we respond to it. Currently, there's about 9,500 dairy farms right across Canada, and we have dairy farms in every province of the country.
Yeah.
And so the average farm size overall is about just over 100 cows.
Okay.
And so over the years, our overall farm numbers have declined slightly as the farms are actually getting a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But it's a very stable number. So we're not seeing. We have never seen a major exit from the industry.
Okay.
So and of course, I mean, people continue to see a future there, and so they continue to invest in the future.
There is a chain that is interesting some European and French farmers, which are organic dairy products. Sorry. Do you have also this type of production? And what is the trend? Is it increasing, decreasing? What is the situation about organic dairy products in Canada?
Yeah, so certainly organic dairy milk is being produced in Canada.
Yeah.
And I would say in all regions of Canada. And it's something that's it's kind of a niche market for us. It's not a huge part of what we're doing, but certainly there are farmers that will respond to some of the demands put out by consumers. So I would say that organic is one of those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is no strong political or mediatic push. It's one criteria or one type of products among others.
That's right. Yeah, we're seeing that. So there's been, this demand for organic has been ongoing for some time, but there's also, consumers are wanting to have protein-enriched dairy products, and other specialty milks and dairy products. But we actually say that our consumers are eating dairy more than they're drinking dairy.
So which is a trend. What we see in Europe is that there will be many or major changes in terms of farmers retiring for a majority of them in the next 10 years. Do you have the same situation in Canada? Are there many replacements? Is it an issue for you? And when I say this, I'm referring to farmers, owners, but also to employees. Is dairy farm still attractive for replacers, new generations?
Yes, actually, we are still seeing strong interest in the next generation coming up. And a lot of and there's also many programs to bring new entrants into the industry. But certainly, it's interesting when we have our dairy meetings, we see a lot of young people there, not only young people, but young families. And so they're coming into the farms. And part of this is the stability that we experience within our industry in Canada. And that's important because people see there's a future. There's
So do you see new profiles also coming in? You say families, but or people coming already from this industry, or people having worked in other sectors on coming back or
right.
coming
Well,
to dairy
we're
farms?
seeing some of both.
Yeah.
Certainly, there's a lot of the generational transfer.
Mm-hmm.
That's the majority of it. But we do have programs to actually bring people in that do not necessarily have a dairy background. So
Okay.
sometimes they come from from other parts of agriculture. But yeah, like and of course they tend to be younger people. So they also see opportunity here, and so we make it possible. And of course, when it comes to financing something that bankers will always look for stability,
Yeah.
right? I mean, so so yes, we have seen that as well. So we're
This
seeing
trend
both.
of having
Yes,
new profiles.
yeah.
What we see is sometimes a kind of balance to find between environmental requests from consumers, but also production constraints, and of course, also leading to a sustainable economical situation. How are you managing this balance in Canada?
So it was years ago that we saw, you could see certain things like some consumer demands coming at us in terms of, where especially for the younger generations, it's very important for them to know that milk has been produced, according to standards, but according to the values that they have. So we share those values with consumers, and we actually developed an assurance program. We call it ProAction, and so it has different disciplines to it. Things like food safety, animal care, care for the environment, and traceability, and so on. So.
Yeah.
So we actually, rather than wait for regulation to come at us, we developed these programs, and so these programs were developed by producers together with the help of experts, obviously in various fields, to create a program where we could actually show what we're doing on the farm that reflects the values of the consumers. And so that has grown to a point now all dairy farms in Canada are certified on this program. In fact, they must be if they want to produce milk. So yeah, so that and then for example, we've also given it some flexibility in terms of this program. Every farm has to have an environmental farm plan. So
Okay.
when it comes to those things, it's very different from one farm to the next, from one region to the
Yeah.
next. But the environmental farm plan is
Really.
designed to reflect the any environmental concerns there might be on any given farm, and then through that they address those concerns.
So everyone has to find his way, his path.
Yes.
But the goal remains the same. Is it do you have ambitious goals? Because we hear about net zero by 2050. Is it
Yes.
part of this program too?
Yes, absolutely. We made that announcement a few years ago that the goal to be net zero by 2050, and so we continue to part of our ProAction program helps us to
Yeah.
achieve this, but it goes beyond that in terms of that means that we're investing in research to to continue to come up with ways in which we are going to achieve that. And so it's an ongoing process where we have developed best management practices. Again, that has been together with the effort of experts in various fields to, and so that's what we strive towards. And knowing too that in order for us to achieve that as an industry, different farms can contribute in different ways in order to achieve that, right?
But everyone is contributing in the end.
Yes, yes.
What about the trends in consumption of dairy products? Do we see, as we see in Europe, high interest for very concentrated protein products? Do you see the same trend? What are the trends in terms of consumption?
Yeah, certainly. It's we've had there's been this the demand for enriched protein dairy products, whether it's cheese, whether it's milk.
Yeah.
And so there's been a very steady growth. In fact, one of the things that we've seen is quite a turnaround is the increased demand in fluid milk, which had been fairly stable or even stagnant for a long time. But then there's also the cheeses, yogurts. That demand has been very, very steady.
So mainly increase coming from milk itself.
Well, I would say no. We continue to see the increased demand in Canadian cheeses, and of course, there's been a lot of focus in a lot of the specialty cheeses.
Yeah.
People are really interested in locally produced dairy product, whether it's milk or cheese.
We are not very aware about Canadian cheeses. Do you have a broad range of cheeses? Are you developing new? Is it
Yeah, we actually there are actually over 900 different cheese varieties in Canada.
Okay.
And we're seeing a lot of especially a lot of small cheesemakers that are doing these specialty cheeses. So it reflects
segmentation in terms of markets with different types, local types.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very clear.
Yeah.
And what are, according to you, the main challenges dairy chain as a whole, production, farmers, but also industry, will face in the next coming years?
Well, one of the things, let's just start with consumers, for example, and we know that with the younger demographics, certainly, as I said earlier, they are very concerned about how the food was produced, right?
Yeah.
So sustainability is really important to them, and with the changing demographics, and we do have immigrants coming in as well that have new it brings a new flavor, and the different demands, right? So it's for the dairy chain. So one of the things we're doing is responding to that and trying to provide the products that consumers want. But on the other side, we also have with climate change, we're seeing those impacts too. And Canada is such a huge country, so we experience all of it, whether it's droughts, floods, that sort of thing, forest fires, and sometimes in very rapid succession, one to the other. And so but those are the challenges. So how do we then we look at ways in which we can mitigate the risks that come with it, right? To create more resilience. So we'll do things like in terms of the kind of forages we grow, for example. On my farm, we always look at doing a variety of forages so that some do better in drought years, others do better in wet years, but it does help us to ensure that we're going to get a good crop.
We did not mention the crop you're growing in your farm.
Right, yeah. So, in my part of the country, we would grow alfalfa. We would have corn for both silage and grain. And then we also do cereals for forages. So so there's a variety of things there. Yes. Yeah.
As you say, to balance. We were talking about climate change for plants, forages, but for cows, are you also experimenting or adapting, conditions in buildings, in farms to eat for drought, but eating points, I would say? Is it also part of your programs?
Yes, very. Well, that's very important. I know you'll see farms that are really focused on, now that we have more heat in summer, lasting for a longer period of time, just to design barns in such a way that you can get fresh air for the cows, just to make it as comfortable as possible, right? And then because it seems as though cows suffer more, during heat conditions rather than the cooler conditions.
Do you see a direct impact on milk production in that case?
Well, what we've seen is there's been a lot of investment in new and renovated barns to kind of address the added heat. So in fact, it's a fairly stable production right through even the toughest months.
Although the weather is changing. Last question. You say we have to adapt to consumption, especially consumption habits of new generations, but you are not alone. You have also industries. Are you able, because changes are going faster and faster, are you able as a chain to adapt at industry level to these changes in terms of consumption?
Yeah, no, that's really important. So as producers and processors, we're having those discussions, so that the right kind of investments can be made for the demands that are out there. So yeah, so the dairy value chain is very much aware of those challenges,
Yeah.
and then trying to adapt to it so that we continue to. It's really important for us to continue to respond to the demands that are there, right? So that's exactly what we're working on. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Wiens, and I wish you the best World Dairy Summit in Paris. Thanks to having been on this TV set. Thank you very much, and have a good summit.
Well, you're welcome, and I really enjoy being here.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.